Welcome to the Healthy Perspective Podcast with your host, chiropractor, entrepreneur, mentor, and author, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll break down and extract the secret sauce behind his own success and the success of some of the top leaders in every category and from around the world. Get ready for your weekly mental adjustment because shift is going to happen.
What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me on the Healthy Perspective podcast. Today, I am going solo, and I have a subject that I'm super excited to talk about because it combines almost every aspect of my life that I am passionate about and that I love. The first being homesteading, the second thing is problem solving, and the third is running a business, so being an entrepreneur. So I'm a part of a collective of homesteaders in a Facebook group, and we basically talk about our different animals, different problems, commiserate with one another through the hard times, celebrate each other through some of the good times, and then also just troubleshoot. So if we have a cow that's acting weird, we ask each other questions, and we do whatever we can to be as supportive as possible. And the really cool thing is there's people from all around the world in this group, so I've really learned a lot, not just about animals and homesteading, but I've learned a lot about what other people face in other countries and what's important to other people. So I've really enjoyed being a part of it. But over the past, year or so I've been a part of it, my focus has switched a little bit. And some of the things that are standing out more in this group is when people start complaining. And I don't know if I'm just noticing it more, but the past couple of weeks, I've really noticed a lot of people complaining about the lack of success that they are experiencing. And I really wanted to talk about the two situations that got brought up and the suggestions that I gave and the changes in one of the situations that posted today. Actually, I just saw an update on it and their success. So this is the Healthy Perspective podcast, and we are going to dive right on into our first scenario, which is a lady that complained about her lack of ability to sell eggs from her homestead. She has like over 200 chickens, which means that you're getting a ton of eggs a day, and she's been doing it for years. But with COVID, there's actually been a rise in interest in growing your own food and making your own products, and obviously the last thing would be having chickens and getting your own eggs, your own farm fresh, backyard chicken eggs. Most counties allow it, even here in California. And so she said, with the rise of COVID, there's so many people that have chickens and that are trying to sell eggs, that the market is really, really saturated, which is an interesting problem that I don't think any of us anticipated having, especially because eggs, especially the organic eggs, go for quite a bit around here. I don't know, $5 to $8 a dozen, depending on what brand that you buy. And so this lady was complaining that, all these people are taking up her market, something that she's done for so long. And it's like she has the right to be the only person that sells eggs just because she's the first one doing it or because she's had it for, a long time. And I gave some suggestions to her for just the way that my mind thinks when these problems arise. The first thought, and I wanted to be a little bit pokey, was said, well, have you ever heard of the Kodak, the camera company? And the reason why I wanted to say that is because Kodak was one of the first to have, the disposable camera. And when that came out, everybody had them. Kodak was amazing. Printing company, everything was going really, really well until the digital camera came out. And Kodak didn't adapt. They didn't change. They didn't change their business model. They didn't change their product. Same thing could be said of Yellow Pages. They owned the market for data in businesses, and everybody needed a yellow book because that's how you got other people's information and how you Googled things back in the old days. You flip pages and you named your business AAA Chiropractic, so that way you would be the first one listed. But if you don't adapt to your surroundings, then you're going to die because situations, your business is going to die, not you. Well, you will die if you stop adapting as well, but that's a side point. And so what I ended up posting is we got to find the blue ocean here. If you're noticing that everybody is selling eggs, maybe the market anymore isn't selling eggs, but it's selling to the egg farmers. Because if you buy in bulk for all of your chickens, then all these people are going to need cartons to sell their eggs. All these people are going to need maybe a place to put their manure. All these people are going to need food. So if you can buy food in bulk because you're buying for 200 chickens and other people are only buying, for 2 or 3 chickens, then you can sell the food. Now you're supporting these chicken farmers instead of trying to compete with them. It's a very different mindset. It's called find the blue ocean mindset instead of the red ocean, where you're finding where's the opportunity. So if there's less of an opportunity to sell your eggs, then why don't you find where this booming market is and sell to those people? And so I didn't hear anything back from her, but I thought that was, just a unique way to apply a business mindset, an entrepreneur mindset to a really practical problem, selling eggs. Everybody's doing it and I don't have, I can't do it anymore. Everyone's taking my customer base. The second one, and this is the one that she made changes and posted a new video today, and it's amazing. So she runs a homestead, and she's been doing it for a little while, I think over a year or so, and has a YouTube channel, and her goal is to be able to make money from YouTube by sharing tips and tricks and experiences of her and her family homestead. And she also wants to do it because her husband, could get injured at work or something like that, and they don't want to be left without an income. So she's done this as, a fun thing. She likes to homestead, but then also to support her family. And so she posted a comment in this group and was just talking about how she's been doing it a year. The subscribers aren't there, the video views aren't there, and she seems like it's never going to be successful. And so I went and I checked out her YouTube, and sure, there were videos that were sharing helpful tips, but when you think like a marketer, you don't think what's going to be helpful for people, you think what is going to get people's attention. And so the comment that I posted underneath was like, you gotta be controversial. Like, you look at almost every one of these successful, quote unquote, homesteaders that are running very profitable YouTube channels. Almost all of their videos have clips or thumbnails that entice you and get you to want to watch more, rather than here's some helpful tips on gardening. It's like, I don't know what it's gonna watch, and I don't know if I'm gonna sacrifice 6 minutes of my time when I don't know what I'm getting into. So I said, be controversial, be different. Don't try to be like everyone else. Be what makes you unique. Share your story about your husband, share your stories, share your highs, share your lows. And the video that she posted today, and she posted back in the group, said, what did it say? It said how solar panels are destroying a family, pond, a family homestead pond. And most of her videos had maybe 200 views or less. And this one, I'm pretty sure she just posted within the last couple of days, has over 500 views already. And so I was able to comment and said, be controversial, like that's amazing. And underneath her post, there's like 5 or 6 comments already. And she just posted that in the group a couple of hours ago. And so now she's getting engagement. So I think that was a really cool, I don't know if she may have already had this video, ready to go. I don't really know if it's a direct result of the advice that I gave her, but I think that's very applicable for no matter who you are or what you're trying to do. Let's say you're trying to start an essential oils business, or let's say you're trying to start anything that's relatively easy to start. Anybody can buy a couple chickens, have a YouTube, and try to make it. I'm guessing there's a lot of people that are making it with just backyard chickens and a couple of raised beds. You don't need a full-fledged farm to have a YouTube channel. Same as you don't need a degree or anything to start selling essential oils or anything like that. When you want to think like a marketer, you're not thinking about what you want to give people, you're thinking about what people want to take from you, and you have to be willing to give that to them. When you're selling essential oils, it's not just about here's an oil for your pain. Like everybody's posted a video about an oil for your pain or an oil for digestion. It's got to be something controversial. And the more you start to read headlines, the more you start to see they're not actually trying to get information to you, they're trying to get your attention, because their end goal isn't to get you to read their post. Their end goal is to pay the advertisers, and how the advertisers will pay you is by getting as many page views as possible, as much exposure as possible. So it's less about being right, it's less about being informative, it's more about being entertaining, and it's more about being controversial, because the more controversial you are, the more engagement you are going to get. And so when you look at the chiropractor, there's tons of YouTube channels out there that show largest crack on professional athlete, or like those are the videos that are getting tons of views. While I don't typically endorse them, and I think that paints chiropractic in a bad light, and I don't think it's great for the profession. These people are killing it on YouTube because they are controversial, they are attention grabbing. And so Even if you're, a mom, or a dad, or stay-at-home mom, thinking about what are things that are going to get my kids, attention. Saying the same thing over and over and over again isn't going to get their attention. We got to be a little bit dramatic, just as they're dramatic. Think about, we're going to respond when they start crying. They're going to respond when we're going to respond when they're annoying. Think about what gets our response, and think about how can we reverse engineer that and use that to get the attention of our kids. And that's why one of my favorite shows is called The Office, and one of my favorite episodes is when Andy is trying to motivate his team to make more sales. And so he organizes a whole, almost Chuck E. Cheese like thing where if they, get this many sales, they get this many tickets, and you can redeem your tickets for these type of prizes. And so Jim creates this idea to pool all their tickets together and says, how many tickets will it take for you to get a tattoo on your, on your body? And he's like, well, that'll be, an absorbent amount of tickets. And the team immediately gets to work, and they do it within, 6 hours or, something like that, because the team was inspired by a dramatic move that their boss made. And so an emotional move, and a move that could unite people. And that's why I'm so passionate about casting a vision, because so many people will get on board with what you want to do if you cast a vision rather than set a goal. Because a goal is something that matters to you. A vision is something that matters to a whole bunch of people. Because a vision is something that is done collectively. A goal is typically that's done individually. And in my opinion, and if you read my book when it comes out, we're going through the editing process right now. In the goals chapter, I talk about having a selfish why. Now, without context, it's going to sound bad. So make sure you read the book or listen to the other parts of my podcast where I give context to a selfish why. But it's in my belief that your why has to be selfish. It has to be something for you. It doesn't just have to be a car or a watch. It can be an experience or an emotion, but it has to be something that continues to drive you. Because if you're trying to constantly do things for other people, it's never going to be fulfilling. That you have a purpose that's for getting the word out and for changing the world, but a why is always going to be about you. So going all the way back to this group that talks about homesteading and whatnot, and these two people complained that they weren't reaching their goal. If they were able to cast a vision and say, hey, so my husband works a ton and he wants to be on the farm, but he can't because he works so much. And a lot of the farm, chores fall on me, which I love doing. I don't mind doing that. I'm not complaining about that. But we have a goal of getting 50 new subscribers by next week. And what we want to do is find out what people want to know, from our farm. This is what we do. And so now they're casting a vision. It's like, hey, the goal is to get 50 subscribers. That's for me. But the goal is to get information that you guys want. So we're giving you something that you want as well. Let's cast a vision to get everybody under the same roof, so that way you get what you want, I get what I want, and everybody's working symbiotically in order to make the world a better place. So I hope this podcast was helpful. I know it's a little bit shorter than most, but it's packed with a ton of information. So tune in next time for the Healthy Perspective podcast. Sometimes it'll just be me going on a monologue about things that inspire me or things that irritate me or things that I just want to share with you. We'll also have a ton of guests coming on as well, from high-performing athletes to elite business coaches to mom and pop business owners that have amazing perspectives that are undiscovered gems. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Perspective podcast. To connect with Dr. Bowman, follow him on Instagram @Dr. Chris Bowman. Until next time, make shift happen.